Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the joint opposition rally in Hyde Park.
Police FCID questions MP Nama Rajapaksa.
Despite assurance, power cuts experienced in several areas.
Minister Sarath Fonseca makes an appeal from the President.
Good evening, this is Prime Time News. I'm Sonali Wanikabaduke.
Good evening, I am Shahan Rampati. Well, let's now take a look at your stories in detail.
In local news tonight, the Ratnapura District Environment Conservation Summit was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena today.
The primary objective of this summit, which was held at the Sivali grounds in Ratnapura, was to publicize the national program on environmental conservation.
The powerful nations in the world who advise, warn and preach to small nations like us have become the pioneers of environmental destruction. Even though small countries like us have signed and agreed to certain international charters on environment and certain international declarations, the world powers have either rejected or refrained from agreeing or signing these documents.
The President thereafter paid the homage to the Ratnapura Sri Sumanasaman Devalaya. Niluka Ekanaika took oaths as the new governor of the central province at the President's official residence today. Niluka Ekanaika was a consultant editor for a newspaper, served as a journalist for a long period of time.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa attended the meeting organized by the joint opposition today. The meeting was held at Hyde Park, Colombo.
The meeting, which was held under the title Janasagna, was organized in protest against the hunt for soldiers, slashing of farmers' subsidies, the ECTA agreement, suppression of the people, political revenge, and taking away the civic rights. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa joined the meeting after views were expressed. Representatives of the opposition faction in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, National Freedom Front, Mahajana Eksat Perumuna, Pivithu Hela Urumia, Democratic Left Front, Sri Lanka Communist Party, Lanka Samasubaja Party, National Liberations People's Party and the Public Servants Party attended this meeting. Somawansa Amarasinghe was also present. A letter citing the issues of the farming community was handed over to former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
They say I took loans. Well, I worked with the loans I took. These are the loans I took. $190 million for the Mattal airport, and that was built. $426 million for the Hambantota harbour, and that too was constructed. $1,340 million for the Norchole power plant. $630 million for the Colombo-Mathura expressway. $248 million for the Colombo-Katanaika expressway. Well, this is a loan which this government has taken. Within a year, this government has taken a loan of $6,361 million. How is that for a record? Well, they cannot do it. This shows clearly that they cannot. I am speaking here as one of the best SLF peers in the country. Not one day have we left the party. Not 1 month have we left the party. We are the true owners of this party. We are the true SLF peers. This government has torn apart one by one every single promise they made to the people when they came into power. Every concession which the people had when this government came into power has been slashed one by one. This government has dashed all the hopes of the people of this country had back then. The entire country needs to organize. The entire country needs a public revolution. It needs to be transformed into a public struggle. A struggle against imperialist rule, a progressive struggle, a democratic struggle and a humanitarian struggle. It can be done.
Well, here are some of the scenes at Hyde Park during the joint opposition meeting.
Meanwhile, a heavy traffic congestion was seen around Hyde Park, Colombo during the rally. Roads get blocked when meetings like this are held. Where these are being held constantly, it is quite inconvenient for us when this happens. If the economy of the country is to run, then the people should work. So when the roads are blocked during the time when we have to work, the economy cannot be improved. It may be the opposition party or the ruling party or anyone. If that is the case, they must establish a separate area to hold such events.
MP Uday Gammanpila faced a rather unexpected incident while attending the rally in Hyde Park.
Well, following are the comments made on the rally organized by the joint opposition.
If he was a politician with any sort of morality, he would bid farewell from politics after serving 2 terms as the president of the country. When will these persons get rid of this greed? All of those who are in the joint opposition commit acts against the public. There are various kinds of persons in this. There are womanizers, drug dealers and liquor businessmen. These persons are against good governance. If you commit crimes, you have to suffer the consequences. And all these persons have committed crimes. Allegations of crime, murder, financial fraud, wastage, intimidation and a myriad of other severe allegations are being raised against their henchmen. So honestly speaking, the Financial Crimes Investigations Division nor the Crimes Investigation Division has to go from house to house looking for these persons. If they simply just go to Hyde Park, they can capture all of them at once. Because all of them are together. What they're trying to do by forming what is called the joint opposition is to pickpocket the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. And who are the ones pickpocketing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party? People like Dinesh Gunawardena, Vasudeva Nanayakara and Bimal Veerawangsa. But we challenge these so-called leaders of the joint opposition to contest a cooperative election separately and win if you can. It is good that protests are being held for the sake of criticizing the incumbent government and keeping the people aware. But the disappointing factor is that their attempts are not to criticize for what matters the most, but to create chaos in an effort to cover up their crimes and mistakes.
Minister of Finance Ravi Karunanayake provided an elaboration on the nation's economic status at a media briefing at the UNP headquarters, Sirikota.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa had made various statements on the economy. We are the ones who now have to feed milk to the child. When Sri Lankan Airlines was taken over by the state on the 1st of April 2009, the profit of 9,200 million turned into a loss of 158 billion. It is said that 190 million was obtained for the Mattala airport. However, the accounts say only 46 billion. That means 46,000 million rupees. It is said that 248 million was obtained for the construction of the Katunayake Expressway. However, we find it to be 35,000 million rupees. The accounts say 49,000 million. Where is the remainder? We have to pay this.
Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, the Minister for Regional Development, commented on the malpractices that had taken place during the rule of Mahinda Rajapaksa.
There is a $33 billion loan taken from South Korea for the construction of 3 garbage disposing centers in Colombo. Nothing was done with those funds. In the recent past, there was talk of the MIG deal done through former Secretary of Defense Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Over $100 million had been paid to a non-functional company based in England. Around 23,000 soldiers were injured in the battlefield. There was an aeroplane in China which could be used to carry around 60 soldiers. I pleaded from them to obtain that for the Air Force, but they did not. They said that they do not have the funds. Around 6 months after the conclusion of the war, 2 such aeroplanes were purchased for the king to travel. One cost around $10 million. This commander-in-chief, who says that he provided leadership for the war and refused to purchase 2 helicopters during the war, purchased 14 helicopters after the war. After Gotabaya Rajapaksa overlooked the transactions, the price of an artillery shell rose to $650 from $250. 4.5 billion was collected for the Api Venuvan Api project. No one knows what happened to those funds. 300 two-bedroom houses that don't even cost $1 million to build were constructed. Even if 300 million rupees was spent for 300 houses, what happened to the remaining 4,200 million rupees?
The minister also made an appeal.
We witnessed the exemplary role of the president. He pardoned the terrorist who made an attempt on his life. The woman who tried to kill me with a bomb and the persons who brought her to the compound are in custody for 7 years. He is named Morris. When I was in prison, we sat together on the same bench. He spoke to me and told me how he lied to the police. He told me the truth. He is still in jail. I appeal from the president to release him.
UPFA MP Namal Rajapaksa was questioned by the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division today.
After being questioned for a few hours, MP Namal Rajapaksa expressed views to the media upon exiting the FCID. Today they had asked me to come for a new issue. It was regarding a certain sum of money that was provided for a rugby tournament. I do not know whether they called me here hoping to keep me till evening because there is a meeting happening today. However, I assisted in the investigation. We've been coming here since the inception of good governance. My brother just went inside, but he did not come out. But I am lucky to come out whenever I go inside. I am not sure for how long my luck will last. It was regarding a sum of money that was given by a certain company for the Carlton Super 7s. They say that I put it in my pocket. I did not do such a thing. It's 70 or 100 million. They don't reveal the exact number.
On to another one of our headline-making stories this evening. Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ranjit Simbalapitiya said yesterday that the electricity supply would be returned to normal by this morning. However, power cuts were reported from several areas today as well.
Areas in Anuradhapura, Matara, Kotte, Wattala, Matugama, Galle and Pannipitiya experienced power cuts today. Power disruptions were experienced in the Vijaypur area and a number of other areas in the Anuradhapura district, including the new town. Customers called us. Around 6 people work here. We have to pay their salaries even if there was no electricity. So when that happens, we can't continue the business. There are power cuts every day. How are we going to feed our children? The new year is drawing closer. We have to send our children to school. How are we going to earn for all that when there are power cuts? Power supply in the Maharagama town was disrupted this morning.
Baby sign discomfort when the fans do not work. We engage in our daily activities with much difficulties.
When inquired, the chairman of the CEB, Anura Vijayapala, stated that 100 megawatts have been added to the national grid from the Norochole power plant. He added that since power is added to the national grid in phases, a power cut had to be imposed in certain areas. Anura Vijayapala stated that a systemic power supply could be provided from tonight. We will responsibly carry out steps to stop something like this happening again. A high-level ministerial committee has been appointed. We will consider the short-term solutions and come to conclusions which will be informed to the ministerial committee. And we will make sure the power supply system operates with no defect within 3 months, and we will also take necessary steps to provide electricity with high-quality service. We do not have to discuss the question of who is responsible for this at this time. We shall consider it at some other platform. We hope to take actions in a disciplinary manner. We will also go deep into the details and conduct a research. Measures will be taken against the ones who are responsible.
A special event took place at the Mahabodhi Agrashravaka Viharaya in Maradana yesterday.
The event was organized under the guidance of Venerable Banagala Upadhisatero to mark the birthday of Sadguru Brahmeshanandacharya Swamiji from India. The delegation led by Sadguru Brahmeshanandacharya Swamiji arrived at the Mahabodhi temple and first engaged in Buddhist religious observances.
මේක එක්තරා විදියක උපන්දිනයක්ම නෙවෙයි
This is not only the celebration of a birthday, but also building of a bridge between the two countries. It is through this that we can triumph internationally. Today we set the foundation for Hindu-Buddhist relations in both countries.
Prabhu Ramachandra, Sita Maya.
We are pleased to have arrived in Sri Lanka, where Rama and Sita also set foot. I got to know Venerable Banagala Upatisathero back in 2010 at a Buddhist conference. I am pleased to come here and enhance our friendship. Mementos were exchanged at the event, which also saw a special puja take place.
Well, in an interesting story, most often than not, tears roll down the faces of many following an accident. However, today, a certain accident in Harliala brought a lot of smiles.
A freight truck transporting alcohol from Colombo to Batulla spilled its cargo following an accident in Harliala today. The driver and his assistant were injured when the freight truck veered off the road. Our correspondent said that the duo were hospitalized. A looting frenzy followed, with people emptying the truck's spilt load, which covered the road. Efforts made by the Batul police to control the situation was not successful at all.
A lecture titled Economics Beyond the Market was held at the BMICH last evening.
The lecture, which was organized by the Gamini Career Foundation, was delivered by Economist and Executive Director of the Verite Research Organization, Dr. Nishan Demel.
Different economists will give you different advice, and there's a great deal of contrast and contradiction within the approaches of economists. So sometimes you've heard this joke that people say, I need an economist with one hand. Because the idea is that economists say on the one hand, and then on the other hand, here's another way to look at it. And in Sri Lanka's political leadership, we have periodically shifted between two different party positions in economics. And the fact that every time a government changes in the country, that our economic policies go through substantial change in direction, in ethos, in decisions, has created a sense of disruption and uncertainty. We don't have long-term planning that's possible in this context. So I think we do need to talk about our approach to the economy. And when I say economics beyond the market, what I'm suggesting is that there is some way that we can think of bringing together or synthesizing these different ideological approaches to have an approach that we take in the modern day.
The threat of wild elephants and dilapidated roads were the main concerns that were raised during the News1st Gum at the Door-to-Door campaign today.
That's right. Now, the Gum at the campaign, which is being supported by the University of Peradeniya, toured the Norelia, Ampara and Gampa districts today.
Gum at the Door-to-Door, a national public service initiative.
Sri Lanka's largest public service initiative, the Newsfirst Gum at the Door-to-Door campaign, embarked on yet another important day today. The team based in the Ampara district commenced their journey from the Sandanatha Historic Temple in the Suhadagama area.
Most of the people living here do not engage in their daily activities in the afternoon because mostly they wake sleep in the night till early morning. If you go a little further, it is a very sorrowful situation. Wild elephants storm into these villages.
The villagers at the temple premises noted that they face a number of issues due to wild elephants from the Buddhangala Forest Reserve. When touring Suhadagama in search of the problems faced by the residents of the area, this group of farmers spoke of the plethora of issues they face as the wild elephants destroy their harvest. They went on to say that they do not receive a price for the harvest they yield amidst all these difficulties. From Suhadagama, the team moved to Kumarigama. The farmers here too face issues as they stack up their yield inside their houses. If they are to store their harvest at storage facilities, they need to travel a very long distance to Udayapura or Vallavali.
They give money instead of fertilizer. After giving the money, they ask us about the accounts at the agrarian banks. But most of us do not even know where these agrarian banks are.
While a group of farmers lament on the distance they have to travel to safeguard and store their yield, this is the manner in which a number of paddy fields in the area are covered by sand. This is the fate that has befallen the paddy fields due to the overflowing of the Anda loya which flows next to them. The farmers who cultivate in these lands request that a bund be constructed to stop the overflow. Another group in the Ampara district toured the Sagagam area today. The Sagagam Tamil Mixed School, the only school for the area, was closed down 2 to 3 years ago due to wild elephant attacks. The school opened in 2004 was closed several years later, forcing the students to travel to school, which is 10 kilometers away.
Well, today is a normal school day. But if this school was functional, this school would have been filled with kids and activities like in a normal school would have taken place. But just look around, the fate which has befallen this school. The smell which comes from this area is unbearable. It's infested with dung. And this is a book. See the state of this. How could the level of education be brought up to a better level if the only school in the Sagamam area which falls under the purview of the Ampara district is in this state?
Rowing for a better future, not an easy task at all. For these fishermen who are living here in this part of the island, they have forgotten 220 families are relying on this water for fishing. They also engaged in tourism. For them, they are in a forgotten land, in deep Sri Lanka, in rural Sri Lanka. What they ask for from the government is a better future for them, a better nation, a secure future for their children. Shamir Rasuldin reporting for News First from the Uri Lagoon in the east of Sri Lanka.
The Vanagamu village is home to around 700 families and over 200 of them live in small shacks, including mother of 3, Subega Umma. All she wants is a house to live in.
This is a letter Sumedamma wrote to the high officials requesting that a house be provided to her. When will her dream of owning a house become a reality?
The News First Come at the Door-to-Door campaign commenced a journey from the Veragoda village in Iluktota.
We are witnessing for the very first time where a media institution is engaged in this kind of an initiative.
One group in the Gampa district visited the Kalukanda, Danovita and Navaladini areas. The primary concern of all 3 villages was the absence of a proper road system.
The
other group travelling in the Gampa district visited the Botale area in the Mirigama divisional secretariat.
ඕගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රධානකට ගම්පහනේ. දැන් මීරිගමද? මීරිගම කොච්චර දුරද? කිලෝමීටර් 8නේ. කිලෝමීටර් 8ක් විතර තියෙනවා. 8ක්.
The team in the Nuwareli district commenced their journey from the Sri Sadharma Tilaka Sima Rama temple in Ambanwala. They then divided into 3 smaller groups and travelled across the district to look into the problems and asking them the simple question, what will make their lives better? One team came across these persons who only want a proper road system. This 3-kilometer road links Iluk Palasa and Kollalpitia. This road comes under the purview of the Valapane Pradesh Sabha, and thus far 5 lives were lost on this road. Locals claim that since it is extremely difficult to travel on this road with a child, a proper road needs to be constructed.
We had to help these mothers to bring these children up here. The reason is that this mother has 2 children and she cannot walk for 1.5 hours bearing these 2 children. The affection of that mother towards her children have been neglected due to this road. One of the children is always in another house. These mothers requested from us to inform the authorities that they don't want anything to eat or drink or even aid. They even said that they do not need any means of employment. But what they ask is to construct this road for their children to go to school. It is about 200 years old and is not safe.
I'm a woman too. I too lived in this village. I've been bearing this child on my back for about 15 minutes. It is very difficult for a woman to travel on this road. Another group visited the Theripaya village in the Valapani Divisional Secretariat to inquire into the people's issues. When reaching the village boundary, what the team came across was a caravan which the locals used to travel from one place to another.
From the Theripaya village, it is 5 kilometers to Rajamawata, and that can be travelled within half an hour. On this way, from the Theripaya village to Badulla Bandarwala, and especially Badulla and Mahiyangane, around 45 kilometers are there. Why aren't the officials finding a solution to this? The problem we have is why they don't do anything. They carry out investigations every day and make plans from year to year. We have informed them about this for the past 5 to 10 years and nothing has been done.
Gum at the door-to-door, a national public service initiative.
Sri Lanka's happiness has climbed 15 places to rank at 117th position in the latest World Happiness Report published. The World Happiness Report 2016 update, which ranks 156 countries by their happiness levels, was released in Rome in advance of UN World Happiness Day. Neighbouring India is ranked 118th, down from 117th in 2015. Well, for the full story on this report on who the happiest and the least happiest country in the world, you can log on to our website www.Newsfirst.lk.
Several social welfare programs were held today to celebrate the birthday of UNP MP Buddhika Pathirana.
MP Buddhika Pathirana, who declared open a drinking water supply project in Malimbada this morning, also laid the foundation stone for a housing project in the Hulanduwa estate. As a result of a mistake made by us as a country in 1972, the planters of our country have travelled overseas and have bought plots of land and have started cultivating. But now we have to face competition against them. It has become a great challenge for us now. The truth is, the Queen in Buckingham Palace will also be able to drink a cup of tea if our tea leaves are plucked. The Satasa supermarket in Malimbada was also declared open by MP Buddhika Pathirana. Distribution of high-protein milk for underweight children in the Valigama, Chaivikramagama Urban Council were distributed in line with his birthday. MP Buddhika Pathirana, who studied at Rahula Vidyalaya in Matara, won majority of votes and was elected to the Southern Provincial Council in the year 2004. He was elected to Parliament for the first time in 2010 and was appointed as the co-chair of the Matara District Development Committee by the President.
Well, that's a wrap from all of us here at Primetime News. I'm Sonali Vanikapaduke.
And I am Shahan Jurampati. Good night and take care.